Can the average person retire? In this video, I'm going to be finding out if Martin Lewis, this beautiful TV presenter, money-saving expert, who's a journalist, if he can afford to retire based on a number of averages on people in the UK. So why should you listen to me? Well, I'm Ryan Kingsley. I'm a chartered and regulated financial planner. I've been in the industry for over a decade. I make videos just like the one you're watching, which is probably why you should listen to me, because I do this as a day job. I've also just recently launched my own firm or partnership, so I'm independent, but I've launched a wealth management business. So happy to have a conversation if it's something you're exploring, but it's not really an ad here, it's about financial planning. Financial forecasting is the most important tool financial advisors use, and we use it for every single client. It is essential. If I don't know who you are and what you want to do, I don't know how to advise you. It's as simple as that. It's not just investment advice. I'm going to be forecasting from age 60 all the way to age 100. I'm going to make a bunch of assumptions. Inflation at 2.5%. I'm going to assume they've got no liabilities. I'm going to assume they paid off their mortgage. And then I want to see if the average person can retire. So Martin Lewis, he's actually not 60, he's like 56, 57. Please don't hate on me if you're watching this, Martin. I'm going to assume that he retires at 60 because although the average person retires at 64, a lot of people try to retire at 60. We need to know if you can afford to do that. The average person might have 10 grand in their cash account, so I've done that. The average person, pension pot wise, has about £137,000 when they get to retirement based on the age brackets. I'm going to assume that it is invested on a cautious basis, and you might be getting 5 to 6% year-on-year growth. It's not a linear performance where it's just going to be 5% every single year. We're going to have good years and bad years, and it's using the last 30 years worth of data to predict that. I'm going to assume he spends the average amount that someone does in retirement, but that works out to £1,833.33 reoccurring year-on-year. So we've got the average expenses, we've got the average pension pot, we've got roughly the average pension age. I'm going to assume the full state pension, which is £241.30 a week. That's going to increase with inflation to keep it relevant. Whether it does that or not, different conversation. Don't even know who's going to be in government by the time that happens. And I've also made assumptions that every 5 years, so at 65 and then again at 70, there's going to be a £5,000 expense at each of those stages. That could be renovations, could be a new car, but at 65, 5 grand, he has a random expense, and again at 70. Drum roll, please. Okay, I'm not actually going to put a drum roll effect, but you can see, unfortunately, Martin Lewis, the average man, does not make it. They run out of money pretty quickly. By 67, he's pretty much broke and might have to return back to work. Not what we want, of course. And the reason for this is because his pension pot is just too small. He's retired too soon. What he could do at 67, 68 is look at downsizing if he's got a big property, but the average person doesn't have a big property, so it's not really ideal here. So unfortunately, Martin, you're going to have to be working a few more years before you could afford to retire. Now, if he does retire at, say, 65, he's probably going to be okay with extra savings in his pension to get to probably his mid-early 70s before he runs out of money and just rely on that, £12,500 a year from the state pension. At mid-70s, probably going to look at releasing equity from your property. Again, maybe downsizing, but if you're releasing equity, you still get to maintain the use of your property unless you go into a care home. In retirement, we've got these stages that happen. So you've got the not at home years, which is the start. You're out doing things, enjoying retirement. The at home years where you've done all your traveling, you've done all your fun stuff, you're just in your kind of normal routine. And then you've got your inner home years, which is a sensitive topic for a lot of people when they think about retirement. No one wants to think about that kind of aspect of it. It will happen to a lot of people, but hopefully it doesn't happen to you. But the important thing here is that the average person can't retire at 60 based on those numbers. What we could do is, say, go down to part-time work. That could stretch the budget a bit better. But how much would you actually need to retire at 60? Well, to answer that question, I ran a number of scenarios. The number, in short, is to retire at 60, based on that expenses and those details that I've given you already, you need £250,000 in your bank account. That will get you to age 86, 85. Bear in mind, average person lives to age 85. You've got a 1 in 4 chance of getting to age 90. So I think that gives a good room for margin of error based on a cautious investment return. Obviously, it's very independent on your lifestyle, and that plays such an important role in retirement planning. Lots of things happen. Lots of people that when they get to retirement age, they've got kids, they want to help their kids get on the property ladder, they want to do some big travel expenses, they want that nice luxury car they've always wanted. Some people just have not paid attention to their home and it needs a new roof and it's going to cost a lot more than they anticipate, which is why we always add a margin for error. Hopefully it gives you a bit of an understanding on what is possible for the average person and why financial planning and running multiple scenarios is really essential. If you've got any comments, drop them below. If you've got any scenarios you want me to run, drop them below and I'll respond. Thank you very much for watching and I will see you in the next one.